people want you to be compliant. No. If you have a desire, if you have a passion for something, do it. Somebody's going to give you 100 no's. But if you think that it's something that's really important for you, you should just go ahead and do it. So Deborah said, you do it. She said, in fact, let people call you stubborn. Let them call you willful. She said, you know the new word for it? Badass. She said, you're a badass.
Hey, everybody. I'm Rachel West.
And I'm Jen Giammo.
And welcome to another episode of Everybody Talks, the podcast where we explore the wide world of wellness. Sometimes we talk to experts, sometimes we just talk to each other, but we're always talking to you. If you want to watch this episode, go right now to our YouTube channel. Like we always say, watch it at Everybody Talks Podcast.
Every week, we discuss topics from nutrition and exercise to mindfulness and self-care. And today we are talking to the CEO of Ebert Digital, publisher of RogerEbert.com, and producer at Ebert Productions. And for 24 years, she shared a life with Pulitzer Prize winner critic Roger Ebert. Her honors include the 2020 Facets Legend Award, 2022 Ruby D Humanitarian Award, the 2019 Beethoven Spirit Award, 2011 Focus Achievement Award from Women in Film Chicago, and the 2010 Spirit of Compassion Award.
She's been featured on Oprah, CBS Sunday Morning, The Tonight Show, and in major publications including The New York Times and Variety. She's a sought-after speaker who has inspired thousands. As founder of Day for Empathy, she champions programs that break glass ceilings and provide education and arts for underserved communities. She also recently made her directorial debut with the documentary Wellness Warrior, which we're going to talk about the creation of Rancho La Puerta, the famed wellness retreat. And if all that isn't enough, she also created the FECK Awards, honoring filmmakers exemplifying her FECK principles, which stands for forgiveness, empathy, compassion, and kindness, which she also highlighted in her book, It's Time to Give a FECK. We are honored to have her here today. Please welcome to Everybody Talks, Chaz Ebert. Chaz, welcome so much. Welcome so much. I said it again. Welcome to Everybody Talks. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Lori
being
and
here.
Jen. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your background. I mean, we obviously know you were married to Roger Ebert for all those years, and
Yes.
and once he passed, I feel like you have this whole second chapter of life, and you created all these things. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, I will. Well, a little bit before I was an attorney, I was a trial attorney, and I practiced law for a number of years. And when Roger and I got married, he used to travel so much, he asked me to become the vice president of his company and to give up the practice of law because so I could travel with him. And so I did. And so to me, our mission together was to create opportunities for people to show empathy to each other. Even though he was a critic, and by critic, meaning critical and reviewing movies. And I used to love when he got into arguments with his partner
Sure.
Siskel and Ebert, and later Richard Roper, Ebert and Roper. But Roger, underneath, the thing he cared about more than anything is he said that movies are a machine that generates empathy, that allows you to live in the head or heart of someone different than you, somebody of a different age or race or political persuasion or ethnicity or, just or a different religion. And I think we need that more than ever. So when he passed away, I wrote this book, It's Time to Give a FECK. And before then, I was actually mentoring young people. Not, you know what, I take the word back, young, emerging artists, emerging technologists, emerging film critics of all ages. And the thing I told them that I wanted them to do in their work is to do something in their work. Even if you're a technologist, I had an engineer who developed a program for kindness. And so he said that by going through my program, that actually influenced him. So that, you know what, my whole mission at this point on the earth, bring as many people together as I can. That's it.
I love
Wow.
it. I love it.
I mean, that's just what we all need right now. No question about that. No question
Yeah.
about that.
And I love, well,
Yeah.
first of all, I love it's, time to give effect.
That,
I think that's
yes.
a pretty bold statement.
Definitely.
But it's also serious, it's also a
Yeah.
serious thing.
Yes.
And how did you come to this particular framework and why was it important that these principles, they feel in reading the book accessible to people rather than preachy?
Yes. And oh, thank you. You don't know how, when I was writing the book, I said, I don't want to come across as I'm preaching down to you or, you know, being just Miss Goody Two Shoes. These are things that I felt really could help, even just saying hello to your neighbor, things to help in a community, things to help, you know, goals for children to make them, uh, maybe it can help alleviate some bullying in school and things like that. And so when I was writing, it's time to give effect. The E, the E in FECK stands for empathy or Ebert. And, talking about, yeah,
Love it.
I
talking
love
about
that.
his thing about cinema being an empathy
Yeah.
machine. And so it, I mean, it should have been maybe it seems counterintuitive, but as I was writing the book, the chapters fell together themselves. I didn't write it. I didn't intend to write a book with the word feck in it, but talked about, I realized how difficult forgiveness was. So I started writing that chapter first and saying incidents where people forgive each other or people where people were forgiven for things. Forgiveness is so hard to do. And then the next chapter I wrote was an homage to Roger about empathy. And I said, okay, well, if you've forgiven someone or you've been forgiven, you have empathy for somebody who's different than you. What comes next? Compassion. And if you have compassion for someone, what happens? You want to commit acts of kindness. So it all fell together. And then after I wrote the book and I was looking at the chapter, I was like, oh, what can I call it? Oh, feck. It's time to give a feck. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how
Totally.
it's all right.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is great. That acronym works. And to your point about forgiveness, I just want to talk about that for a minute because I do
Okay.
think that's the hardest piece for
Oh,
me, at
yes.
least. And I think for a lot of people, I
A lot of
think,
people.
I think of it, and I know that this is not accurate, but in terms of, you're letting someone off the hook for something when you forgive them, and it's difficult to wrap my head around that. And I know that it's really for me, the person who's doing the forgiving, right? So just talk to us a little bit about that and how do you see it and how do you overcome that?
I'm glad you said that. Forgiveness is not just a kind of a one and done. The person that you're forgiving, if you're the person doing the forgiving who's been wronged, usually the person has to come and show some remorse. It's not just, it's showing some remorse, having some little interaction. It's not just, okay, you wronged me and I just forgive you. No, unless it's something that you're carrying, a resentment that you're carrying around for years and years and it's weighing you down and the other person has forgotten about it and you're letting them live rent free in your head while they're living their best lives. That's when you have to say, I forgive you and take that weight off your shoulders. I I had to, my own book made me do it. Someone that I actually, a group that I had been so resentful, carrying this resentment around. I actually got down on my knees one night and said, God, universe, whatever it is out there, please help me to forgive these people. And the next morning, I got up, I felt so light. I jumped out of bed. It seems like the sun was shining brighter. I had no resentment anymore. It was taken away.
Wow.
I ran into these people shortly after that, and it was like, hey, they came up, they wanted to they had forgotten the thing that had happened between us. but they wanted to be friendly, and I was able to just open and be
Yeah.
receive it rather
Mhm.
than saying, "Get out of my face."
That really is so difficult to do what you're saying because
Yeah.
resentments like that can be held on since like childhood.
Yeah.
Like you can be holding on to something for so long, you
And I
know?
think the way that with FECK, I think there's a reason why the F is first, right?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
forgive first, and then you can have the empathy, and then you can have the compassion,
Yeah.
and then you can offer
Of
kindness.
kindness.
I think that it really makes sense.
Mhm.
Happens to work really well with the word too, but it
I
does make
know. Yeah.
sense
Yeah. Yeah.
as
Yeah.
to
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
so what I guess what have you learned in this forgiveness and empathy part, right? Like how do you see the relationship between forgiveness and empathy?
So for me, okay, this is from my own experience. Once I forgave this group that I had this big resentment, my heart opened not just to them, but just there was less room for the resentment means more room for love, more room for going out and being happy and looking to see who can I help, not who can I resent. And I and it actually made me develop empathy for even the people who were trying to befriend me later because I saw, it's almost biblical. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. I don't think the people I had the resentment against even knew how what they did created it. And I didn't want to bring it up again. It was gone. It was forgotten. Everybody, we're happy. I'm happy because I asked to be relieved of that burden, and my forgiveness opened up so that I could see them with a different eye and thought, oh my God, they were clueless. And I carried this resentment around all this, and they're living their best lives. And okay, so I'm not. The other thing is, I in the book I talk about this Amish community where this happened about 10 or maybe 15 years ago, where remember, I think it was in Pennsylvania, a man walked into the Amish schoolhouse. He separated the boys from the girls. He let the boys out of the schoolhouse and he went in and killed the girls. That night, I don't even see how this is possible. The mother of one of those kids went to the wife of the man who shot her daughter and said, "We forgive you." It's a group of them went, and
Wow.
it was a precept in their religion, and
Yes.
they had to forgive. And I said, "How is that even humanly possible?"
Yeah.
And then the story in South Carolina of Mother Emanuel Church,
Yes.
where
Hmm.
the white supremacists went in and shot. He sat in their church. They welcomed him, and then he killed some of the people in church. They went to him in prison and said, "We forgive you." He had killed some of their relatives. I started studying things about forgiveness. How is it humanly possible to become that kind of person? And it's something I'm still striving for, but it's easier for me to forgive now because of what I learned when I was writing the book.
Yeah, I think, and you hear those stories a lot. You hear
Yeah.
about tragedies like that, and the person who was affected forgives, and that is something I really
Yeah.
I
Right?
It's
don't
so hard to
understand it.
Right?
understand.
It's so hard to understand it. Um,
I mean,
but I guess, to your point, it's kind of like it's not about them. It's about
Hmm.
you and this weight that you're carrying around,
Yes.
right.
So
Yes.
And you have to move forward in your life
You have to
and
move for
without,
right. That's
yeah.
yes.
it.
Yep.
You
And the only way you
Otherwise you're
can do
standing
that,
still.
you
Yeah.
are
Mhm.
stuck. You are
You're
truly
stuck.
stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Without that.
The other thing is it gave me an insight into whoever whether we believe in, God, Buddha, intelligent design, however we think the universe was created. When I hear stories like that, it lets me know of the profound depth of humanity. Whoever created us, however we evolved, the fact that this is even humanly possible gives me so much hope for life and for the world and for even the moments that we're going in now. I said, okay, this is hard, but we can deal with this. What I want to do is start a series of dinners, and I want to put people of different political persuasions around a table and eat and put like maybe 2 or 3 topics that we can agree on beforehand so that we maintain some boundaries. But we've got to talk and we've got to say, why do you believe what you believe? How is it? How does that help? What do you think? Even some philosophical questions like, what do you think is the best for the world? Start at maybe a macro level and get down to a micro level into how their beliefs help their communities or whatever. So we've got to, because we can't just stay stuck in our own silos. We can't do
Yeah.
that.
It's so true. I mean, I was just, at the time we're recording this, election day has just passed. I mean, I live
Yes.
in New York City, and it's interesting to me that even in a city as like democratic, and I'm not political in public at all, but I do think it's crazy that 50%, like half of the city, we're still divided. Like just divided.
Yeah.
And it's that division that really depresses me.
Hmm.
It's not even who wins or who loses. It's
Right.
that
The
division.
vision. I agree
And
with you.
yeah.
But I like what you're saying. Like, first of all, I want to be invited to that dinner.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Same.
I think you two would be great. Maybe you can help me moderate it.
I know.
We can moderate it.
there.
Maybe
We're
maybe
there.
even record it and
On a
put it
Zoom.
out
I
there or
know,
something.
exactly.
Yeah. We think that the way we think is so rational and so right that how
Right.
Yeah.
could someone else think otherwise?
Yes.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Until we
Right.
talk and have a big, serious conversation
You peel
with
back
them.
the onion
It's so
because
true. I mean, look, I have many friends, not many, but I do have a handful of friends who are who believe other things than I do.
Right.
And we're still able to be friends. We know
Absolutely.
our limitations. We know, like, I agree to disagree. You agree to disagree. And so I feel like that's the way, you know, that's the way the world can continue. But I do feel,
Yes.
and maybe you feel this way too, that um, humanity always shows up. Like it's like even in the lowest of low, there are moments like what you're saying, like people forgiving others who have taken from them the most precious thing in their life that they're able to forgive. But like humans are humans, and that base humanity, kindness. Skipping to the K. I'm skipping to the K.
Okay.
not
all
yet. I'm
right.
still on the E. I'm on the E.
On the
But
E, but that kindness lives in us and always shows up. I have to believe that will always show up.
yeah,
You know?
I'd like to believe that. But
Yeah.
also, to your point about agreeing to disagree, and that's fine, and that could make for cohesive environment and all of that. But to your point, Chaz, I want to understand that person's view.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
understand because I can just disagree with you and go on my way. But there's something also I think that comes from, again, you still may disagree with them. You
Right.
probably will. But I guess I sometimes I'm so confounded by the fact that someone believes something so polar opposite
I
from
know.
me
Yeah.
and that we can still be friends.
I know,
It's
exactly.
interesting, but
The thing that I see in the world that's different, because from the time I was 6 years old, I loved politics. I was the little 6-year-old who went knocking on doors with my mother, who was a precinct captain, because she liked politics too, to get people to vote and to do things. So I've always been like the president or the vice president of my class or of some group. So I've always sort of looked out for the good of the group because I was in a position where, to me, the head of some place, whether you agree with everybody or not, but you have to look out for the whole. What's the best thing
Yeah.
for the whole? And I think that we're kind of getting away from that a little bit. And I remember in when uh, whoever was the majority and minority person in Congress would, okay, they would do what they would do on the floor, but they go out and have drinks or have dinner
That's right.
yes.
afterwards.
I
And
don't
I
think
don't
that
think they
happens.
do that
I don't
anymore.
think they do that at
Yeah.
all.
We are
Yes.
far, far
We're
from
a
that,
little
I
far
think,
from that. I
right
agree with
now.
Yeah.
you
And
on
then
that.
we have to
Unfortunately.
get back to that.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So in the book, you talk about empathy as a feeling and empathy as an action. So can you explain what you mean by that?
and I think it's more so empathy is first of all, reaching out to understand someone different than you. And as a feeling, it's something that you want to do. As an action, it's going out, look what we're talking about. If I'm going to empathize with someone of a different political persuasion and then reaching out to say, hey, let's have a dinner. Let me find out how you think or why you think this way. And even if I don't agree with you, if something happens to the family of someone that I disagree with, I can still have empathy for that person
Yes.
whose view is different. So I think
Yes.
that empathy is pretty broad, and it does make you want to, whether you agree with someone or not, feel some compassion for what that person is going through. Because at the end of the day, we have to think that we're all in this boat together, that we're all on this journey together, that we're all this human experiment that we're living. We are all in it to learn different lessons from each other. And I, anyway, I think it starts with empathy.
It's funny. I mean, Roger Ebert. I love what you said about Roger Ebert and the movies because I feel like that is really, I'm a lover of old movies. I love the way like I turn on Turner Classic Movies. That's what I watch all weekend long, and there is something about a shared experience. People don't do this as much, myself included, but it is that shared experience in a movie theater that it doesn't matter who you're sitting next to, but that is when you said that about movies being this empathic experience, I never really thought about it before, but you're really all experiencing that same thing in
Together.
unison
Mhm.
together in the dark. You're not looking at anyone. You're focused on what's happening at the story that's being told. And that as a jumping off point for me is so poetic
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that really is the epitome of what empathy is, and
Yes,
how
yes.
different movies, it's weird when you were talking about the movies. I just watched a movie that was my grandmother's favorite. It's Random Harvest with Ronald Colman and Greer Garson. It's an old
Oh
movie.
my
It's
God,
beautiful. It's
Ronald
a
Colman.
beautiful.
So many people were telling me that Ronald Colman was their favorite actor. I mean,
He is an incredible actor. He's very handsome and debonair. Jen has no idea who I'm talking
Nope.
about right now. I want to
okay.
add no idea, no zero. But it was one of my grandmother's favorite movies, and she kind of imparted on me. And it was on uh, a couple weeks ago, and I literally usually have the movies on, and I'm doing my cleaning up or I'm doing something else. I literally sat down, I stopped, and I watched it because it's a movie that makes me feel so good and makes me feel so connected to her.
Yeah.
And it's that feeling of the movies that like stays with you, throughout, which is really not about anything that we're talking about. But yeah.
I don't know if I've seen Random
Oh
Harvest.
my
I'm
God,
going
it's
to
a
watch it
beautiful
now.
movie. I'm shocked they
Yes.
haven't remade it though, but because it really is begging to be to be updated. But it is
Is it begging or you're begging for it to be?
no, I mean, I really don't want it to be remade. I really don't
Yes.
like when movies get remade.
Mhm.
I'm just surprised because it really is it's a really beautiful movie about love,
I
about
I
love.
wanna te I wanna tell you something that I think I'm going to resurrect. We had it planned. There's a company called Fathom Events, and they allow you to four-wall a movie, and by four-wall, it just means that you sort of rent the theater and you can show whatever movie you want in it and invite who you want to it. So you four-wall this movie, and we were going to four-wall, I think, Life Itself. It was going to be in for the Day for Empathy, April 4th. And we had it scheduled with them. We were going to show it in different cities around the country. And we were going to have people there with microphones at certain theaters talking about empathy and the movies. And then the pandemic happened and we had to scrap that. I think that we should, go through Fathom events and four wall some movie, whether it's a movie about love or whatever, and get people talking and maybe still I like that idea because people love talking about a movie once they get out of it.
That's really true.
And
Really
Yeah.
today, if
true.
you're just streaming it at home,
It's not the same.
not
You're
the
all by
same.
yourself.
It's not
You're
the
like seeing it
same.
by yourself. I mean, sorry, I digress, but I was like, I kept thinking about that feeling, that thought about empathy and what he said and how movies really, and what a jumping off point it was for you. You've created literally a whole movement off of his words, and that's beautiful. That's a
Yeah,
really beautiful
it
thing.
really is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I thought of it actually kind of in a different way when you were saying that. I thought of it like in connecting with the characters in the movie
Yeah,
as
oh,
that
that's
too. But
oh, that too. Oh,
that
that
right.
is
too.
so important. Yes.
Yeah.
When you watch a movie, do you sometimes pick the character that you are, and so that's the person you're rooting for? That's
Always.
yeah.
100%. Always.
Okay.
Always. Everybody does.
Always.
Yeah.
That's
Always.
so funny.
Always.
In TV shows too, I do the
Yeah,
same thing.
exactly.
Sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh,
I know.
that character's a little too
I know.
familiar. I'm not
Exactly.
sure that I.
And so that brings us to what we're celebrating here in Chicago, the 50th anniversary of Siskel and Ebert.
Oh,
Last night, I
wow.
don't know if you last night we kicked off a film series in Chicago. It's the Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. They're having a month-long celebration. The Siskel and Ebert show started in November of 1975. So this whole
Wow.
month of November at the Cultural Center in Chicago, they're showing a movie and talking about it. I picked Eve's Bayou by Casey Lemons. I don't know if you've ever
Okay. I
seen
don't
Eve's
know that.
Bayou. It
Yeah.
was a movie in 1997. And Casey
Yes.
Lemons later, before she was more known as an actress, she was Jodie Foster's roommate in Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
And she was
Oh,
yes.
also
that
in
I
a
know.
movie called
Yeah.
Candyman, but she made her directorial debut with Eve's Bayou about this upper middle class Black family in Louisiana. Samuel L. Jackson played the father. Lynn Whitfield was the mother. Megan Good was in it. Diane Carroll played a psychic who could foresee things that were happening. And the little girl, Journey Smollett, or Smollett, I don't know how she
Yeah.
pronounces her name.
Yeah.
She's a big actress now, but she was a
Now
little
she is.
girl
Yeah.
in the movie. And so people loved watching that movie together. On November 22nd, we're actually having a play. These two guys, one's going to be Roger and one's going to portray Gene.
Oh
They're
my
going
God.
to resurrect an episode of the Siskel and Ebert show. So
That's hilarious.
Oh my
Now that's
God.
hilarious.
I
now I
love
haven't
it.
seen these actors, but some other people, my daughter saw them and said, Mom, you think you don't want to see this, you want to see this.
Oh,
She
that's
said,
funny.
she
Really?
said, particularly the guy who plays Roger is very good. So
Oh, all
I'm
right.
looking
Wow.
forward to that.
Yeah, that
Anyway,
would be kind of,
I
I think,
know.
fun for you to experience that. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it's a great
I know.
concept. It's a great idea,
That's
but
very
for you in
funny.
particular, I
And
think
in a
that
way, we're
that's
forewalling the movies and talking about what we get from them,
Yeah.
yeah.
identification with characters. But what in life can we do, especially looking at an older movie? Because they all have to be movies that both Gene and Roger, gave thumbs up to. And so, and we just have little discussions before and after the movie.
Right.
So
It's like a book
Yeah.
club for movies.
It is a book club for
I love
movies.
that.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
can I
go
say
ahead.
one other thing?
Of
Yeah,
Or you can
course.
please.
ask me. So I directed my first movie last
Yes,
year.
well,
We're
I want
getting
to get, I
there.
want
We're
to get
getting
there. I
there.
want to get there. We're gonna get there.
Okay.
I mean, let's talk about that now. Then I was gonna ask about the FECK Awards while we were like still kind of
Oh,
speaking
okay.
about FECK before we jump to the Wellness Warrior. But
Please, let's do that.
like, so
That's
all
the
of
thing
these
I'm the most
principles.
passionate about more than anything in the world right now. The FECK Awards.
Yes, this is the first time you're doing it.
The first time, the inaugural FECK Awards, we opened up nominations on October 15th, and the nominations close December 1st. And you can nominate people. You go to giveafeck.com.
Okay.
You nominate, and there's a form there, and it asks whether you're nominating someone in the forgiveness category, empathy, compassion, or kindness.
Right.
I have to tell you, since we opened up October 15th, we have lots of empathy, compassion, kindness, almost no nominations in the forgiveness. And so I'm
Forgiveness.
asking people, please,
Oh,
please think
please.
about someone you forgave or someone who forgave you,
Yeah.
and please nominate the person because
That's the
but
hardest one.
forgiveness is
It's the
hard.
It's
It's
the
hardest
hardest
hard.
one.
Yeah. And the reason I'll tell you what the 2 dates meant. When I was in 3rd grade, we were learning about like Cyrus McCormick and the people who invented the reaper and the fields and people who of wealth who did make contributions to the society and created charities to do good works in communities. I told my teacher, I raised my hand, that's what I want to be. We learned the word philanthropist. I want to be a philanthropist. My sweet teacher looked down at me and said, you can't be a philanthropist. And I said, why not? She said, because you don't have any money. And I was like,
Uh,
well, one day I will. And so I went home and told my mother, and my mother said, you don't have to have someone call you a philanthropist. You can do good works without any money. She said, when we go around and do things for people in the neighborhood, you go with me. She said, maybe they don't call you a philanthropist, but the works that you're doing to help those people is just as important as the people who pay money to help people because they have money. You don't have to have money to help people. So that stuck in my heart too.
yeah.
And I just, you know, so for my birthday, I said, I'm going to start the FECK Awards. The October 15th was my birthday.
Oh, happy
Happy
birthday.
That's why
birthday.
I said, okay, Mom, thank you. This is what I want to do. I want to prospect for gold. I'm prospecting for the people who do good works with
Yeah.
the FECK Award. And that's my way to contribute to philanthropy as well. I mean, I've also contributed money and all of that kind of stuff. But to me, finding the good in people is more important. And so I opened it October 15th, and the day of the ceremony is April 4th, the day Roger passed away. And it was his
Ah,
emphasis on empathy that helped trigger me writing the book I wrote. So that's why
yeah.
it's April 4th is the day that we're having the awards in Chicago. The
Amazing.
I love
ceremony,
the full circle of that.
I
full
agree.
circle.
Is
Yes,
very
yes.
cool. It's very cool.
Yeah. Talk to us about the documentary, how you met. Say her
Deborah
name again.
Deborah Szekely, and her husband was a Hungarian, so it's Szekely
Yeah.
Yes.
but it's
Right.
pronounced Szekely. Deborah Szekely is I met her maybe 35 or 40 years ago at she has 2 spas, the Golden Door in
Yeah.
Escondido, California, and Rancho La Puerta in Tecate, Mexico. And she sold the Golden Door, but they still invite her there to speak. She's 103 years old.
Oh
She
my
still
God.
goes there to lecture, and she still goes
Wow.
to Rancho La Puerta to lecture
Wow.
there one night a week. And her 103rd birthday was, I think, May 2nd.
Wow.
May 2nd. And so when she was going about 100, all of these women who used to go to the spa with me would say, we want to make a movie about Deborah. She's so amazing. She's influenced health and wellness for so many people. And I know Diane Ladd, who just passed away, and her daughter, Maura
Yes.
Dern, used to
Yes.
go there. Oprah would go there. And, and at first it was just, more celebrities, but no, it's just everyday people too. Well, you have to be able to afford it.
You have to pay. You have to
Hey, yeah, it's not
pay.
free. But they concentrate on health and wellness. And Deborah says that she says, I said, Deborah, do you think that you lived so long partially because of your genes? She said, Chaz, just about everybody in my family died early. I have no good genes on my mother's side or my father's side. I think it was my lifestyle that helped. She said, whatever she said, and her kind of her spiritual practice. She's not religious, but she's spiritual and she believes in a higher power and she believes in doing good works for people. She said the way that she eats and the fact that she's 102, 103 and still tries to take a walk every day. She said that means a lot. But she said, the way that you think also affects your health. And okay, now I'm getting really excited because I was talking to, I said something on the air the other day, and a doctor told me, someone in the medical practice told me, actually, that's true. I didn't want people to think I'm just making it up. They said that when you think and you're doing good things and you have a good day, that the neurotransmitters that are created in your brain, the endorphins and serotonin and dopamine and everything else, actually flood your body with things that actually help you get better. I said, "Do you mean the FECK Awards can actually help people get healthier?" He said, "Yes, in that sense, it does. Because when you," he said, "you're prospecting for gold, the good that you see in people actually can have a complementary health effect for them or for the people nominating them or the people who are going to come to the ceremony or the people who are just celebrating the goodness of people." So,
Yeah,
It's so true. It's so true. I mean,
I
they say
know.
that about
Yeah,
gratitude, right? Keeping a
right.
gratitude journal or just every day, three things you're grateful for that could actually create new
Yeah,
neural pathways in your brain just based on, being grateful versus, thinking about all
sure.
the things that are wrong in your life.
right, right.
Yeah,
Because I mean,
Oh,
think
and she
about
talked
that.
I
about the
know.
neuroplasticity of brains.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, and she
yes.
talked about the fact that she said when she was 80 years old, I think the prevailing thought was that as a certain point, as your brain cells die, no more neural pathways can be created. She said, but no, since then, we found that the more you do, the more you interact with people, the more social you are, the more good deeds that you do, your brain actually does create and you probably talk about this all the time. I mean, you know this.
We
So,
we have a fair amount of episodes about just that.
Yeah. But yeah,
But that's fine.
but the brain
Yeah,
is
but it's
very
so
plastic,
it's
and it is sort of
amazing.
a newer phenomenon that we're learning that these things all do really attribute to your health and longevity. But something about Deborah that I thought was interesting. So she was only 17 when she created Rancho
Rancho
La
La Puerta.
Puerta.
yeah, it was her husband. People always said her husband was the visionary. He was older. I think he was in his 30s when they married. She was 17 or 18, and he was from Hungary. And during around, I think it was World War II,
Yeah, it was
they wanted
1940. Yeah.
to move somewhere and open a place, a health place in the United States, but because of the what was going on with the war, they couldn't. So they moved to Mexico, and that's why they opened the place and they found this nice land in Rancho La in Tecate, Mexico, and opened Rancho La Puerta. So it was his initial idea, but the professor was only there, so many years. For years and years and years, Deborah ran that place by herself, brought in, and she was smart enough to bring in all the experts on health and wellness. And so to me, I call her a visionary too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at a time when now everybody talks about health and wellness. Now everybody talks. I mean,
Well,
but back then,
they thought they were a cult. Back then, they
Sure.
said,
oh
"Oh, that cult.
Sure.
yeah,
Those celebrities are going to that place,
so
that cult
crazy.
place."
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's so. I mean, she is a visionary for realizing
Yep.
that was something that we all kind of needed.
Well,
For sure.
especially at the time that it was. I mean,
Yeah,
you're talking about 1940 and the
And then
war.
1959,
yeah,
1960 when it
Right.
first opened, and she couldn't even get a sign to get a loan as a woman at that time.
ah, yeah,
Remember,
of course.
women, we couldn't sign. We had to have a husband or some man sign,
Wow,
and she had the money to do these things, but she couldn't sign for it. So, it's
wow.
so many things have changed.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so, how did you come to decide to direct this film yourself?
Well, I started the story, and I'm so sorry. I digressed.
That's okay.
That's
The
right.
women who were like connected with studios, they had the backing to do it. They had the infrastructure. They had the money. They I they. But every time I would see them, I would say, did you do the documentary about Deborah?" They said no. My daughter said, "Mom, you always say if you want to get something done, do it yourself. You do it." I said, I don't. They're directors. I'm not. yes, you can do it. And so I started just getting a cameraman and I started sitting down and during the interviews, and sure enough, it started taking shape. And I wanted to give her a present for her 100th birthday or her 102nd birthday, I think. And I finally just finished it. It's it's adequate,
Oh,
but she loves it.
Come
She loves it.
on.
as long as she loves it, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that that's not true. That's not true. And how did working with her change your perspective of the work that you do? Seeing someone like Deborah working with her
Oh my
change
God.
your whole kind of purpose.
Okay. This is what I learned from Deborah. She said, people want you to be compliant. No. If you have a desire, if you have a passion for something, do it. Somebody's going to tell you, give you 100 no's. But if you think that it's something that's really important for you, you should just go ahead and do it. So Deborah said, you you do it. She said, in fact, let people call you stubborn. Let them call you willful. She said, you know the new word for it? Badass. She said, you're a badass. She said, I had to
Yeah.
be a badass. So, and she doesn't, talk like that a lot, but she said, you just have to be strong and keep doing it. And don't let people tell you what you can't do. So,
She's certainly an example of that.
What? I mean,
She was called the
incredible.
godmother
The
of
godmother
wellness,
of
right?
wellness. I mean, without her, I doubt that we'd all be here,
I mean,
in this
I have to
space.
say, as a spa goer, we're
Very grateful.
very grateful to her.
have you gone to the Golden Door?
No, I have
Oh,
heard of you.
No, I can't afford it.
Oh.
you
But
must go.
I
Yeah.
would love to go.
I
No, I would
know.
love to go.
And
But
or Rancho La Puerta. Rancho
I
La
know.
Puerta, the Golden Door is more expensive. Rancho
yeah,
La Puerta, at the Golden Door, they have your massage table in your room. The
Wow.
massage person comes to you. They put a whole little customized program for you. And yeah.
Wow.
oh,
Wow.
I love it. I want to go right now.
I know. I know.
um, I think that, documenting somebody who has lived for over a century has got to be so motivational for you, just as a woman, right? To see what she's done.
You know what? I have to tell you what she told me. So I spoke to her at age 100. At age 102, I went back and I said, what do you have different? I said, you made 100 and they gave her the whole town came out for her 100th birthday. I said, now at 102, what additional wisdom have you acquired? And she said, I thought she was going to say, now I'm thinking where I'm not going to be around forever. That's not what she told me. She said, I've been doing research. And if you are healthy, relatively healthy at age 100, at this time in our lives, you can live for another 20 years.
Wow.
I was like,
Jeez.
oh,
God
so
bless.
she's looking, so she said she changes her life kind of every 10 years. So she's looking forward to being 110 and
Oh,
after that
Wow.
120. So
Amazing. That's
that
amazing. That's what we should all strive for, like thinking like that.
well, you know what I love though about
Yeah.
that, and we've talked to a lot of these longevity experts and
Yeah.
biohackers, and all of these biohackers are so into it's like the cool thing to do. It's like I want to live to be 130.
Right.
But
Right.
she is someone who's actually changed her life or has had this lifestyle for her
For
entire
a whole
life. Her
which
whole
is
life.
proof that that's what you need. It's like the consistency and the doing it.
You
And
don't
like
need a cold
deciding,
plunge and
you don't-
a red light sauna.
Exactly.
Or maybe you do a
100%.
little bit, but
100%.
no, I just think that
Yeah.
that's so cool.
that's the other thing she said. You should have fun and joy in your life.
And
Yeah.
laugh,
Yeah.
laughing.
and joy. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
100%.
Chaz, is there anything you want to add about any of these things that we've talked about?
No,
last
I
thoughts?
just want everyone to give a feck. And if you go
Yeah.
to giveafeck.com and nominate someone who you think is extraordinarily kind or compassionate, or someone who had forgiveness in their life, whether they forgave others or were forgiven, that made a difference in their lives. So, or someone that you just have empathy for, or someone who's
Yeah.
unusually empathetic to other people.
Well, I think I know who you should nominate.
You? She is extraordinarily empathetic. I have to say,
Well,
much more
Oh,
empathetic than me.
So-
I'm not. I'm not as empathetic as I should be.
no, that's not true.
there are two things that I say about empathy. Number one, you don't want to become a doormat.
Right.
Mhm.
And number two, you want to be able to view it in the sense of the life that people, if there's something that's happening and you think that either you can help out or there may be an organization that can help out, you can lend a hand. But sometimes we have our own paths that we have to live, and we don't have to swoop in and rescue all the time. And so, and sometimes you think, okay, yeah, I'm really sad for that person, but I have to believe that there's some purpose or something they're going to learn or something that's going to come out of it that
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that helps me
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
yeah, I know
I
some
like
of the
that.
things that I've
I
gone
do
through
too.
and no one rescued me, but it and sometimes
Yeah.
people did rescue me, but um sometimes it's just something our what I like to our experiment as humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Mm.
resiliency that we have as
Yeah.
Resilient.
humans.
That's it. I
Yes.
love that word, resiliency. I love that word.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
other thing Deborah talks about, being so resilient.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, we didn't even touch upon like how Roger's passing kind of turned we kind of glazed over it, but it set you on another path. It set you on
You
a
know,
path.
I couldn't believe it last night at this event. The first in the movie series on the 50th anniversary of Siskel and Ebert. I was talking and I had been watching clips of Roger and Jean and just things, looking through memorabilia. He passed away 12 years ago, April 4th. And I was on stage, and all day yesterday, I was weeping, so emotional. And I was thinking, when does that stop? It's not that it happens all the time, but oh my God. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe that's good. My heart is full. I'm still loving and still connected to, and that's just humanity and that's just life. So,
Yeah.
And I
but
think that
but
shouldn't
last night,
stop.
Jen, it didn't feel like that. It felt like I don't want to be
Yeah.
weeping on stage.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
get that for sure. But I
We
think,
the two of us get that more than you
yeah.
know, but
oh, Lori, you do
yeah.
it too.
Well, we talked to someone yesterday about grief. Jen has recently lost her father. I lost my father
Oh,
about a year and a half
oh,
ago.
I'm
And
so
so
sorry.
we were
Yeah.
talking about how those waves of grief change the ebb and flow of it, and how even though
Hmm.
like look at you 12 years later, like you don't
Yeah.
know what, but it's still there as strong and it really never
Hmm.
goes away. It's just
Right.
like weird things that'll trigger you, weird things that you think about, not even weird, but like little tiny things. You see a
Yeah.
bird or you see a this or you see a that, and
Right.
that kind of sets you off. But how you're right, that's part of the human condition
And
that
it's
will
kind of
all,
beautiful when you think
it
about it.
is, it
Yeah.
is, it
Even just your own
is.
thoughts, even just
Yeah.
having your own thoughts about, you know, the person, or it's something that, a memory that you have that, I mean, trust me, I can.
Yeah.
Lori knows I could cry at the
She
drop
could
of a
weep at a
hat.
drop of a hat. So we totally get that. And
So my mother drops in sometimes from the other side. My
Mm,
mother was this psychic, intuitive woman. And so I still sometimes I'm still kind of in communication with her sometimes, and she'll come in and drop a little wisdom in my head about
really?
grief or about life, and and just about the thing. That's why I love that word humanity so much. And so one time it was a dream, but it felt like I was actually experiencing it. I was walking on like a big checkerboard in the big hall, and there was a throne at the end. And I was walking to the throne, and as I was walking on these checkerboard squares, as my foot stepped on one, it would light up. And I stepped on another, it lit up. And I could see that my mother was actually on the throne at the end. And I was saying to her, thank you. Thank you for lighting the way for me. And she said,
wow.
no, that's your own light. You hide it under a bushel basket. That's you generating the light, not me. You need to go out and let your light shine more. So
That's
it was
amazing.
Wow.
one of the most beautiful dreams I've ever had.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
I think we
Well,
can end there.
those are
oh my
wise. Those are
God.
amazing words. I mean, Chaz, we have loved chatting with you. And
So great.
everyone should nominate someone for these FECK Awards because there's always someone in your life who has exhibited any one of those.
Absolutely. And when you have
things.
that dinner party and you need us to moderate
Exactly.
it, we would
We're
be there.
coming.
Lori and Jen,
Yes.
I'm putting your names down because you
All
could
right.
help be great moderators for this. All right.
We would love
Thank
to
you
do
so much
anything
for
with
inviting
you.
Thank
me.
you so much.
Thank
we
you.
loved having you. All right, so I love Chaz Ebert.
Oh, me too.
She's like our new friend.
I wanted her
feel
to be
like.
my friend.
I know. Just so
She's
interesting.
She's adorable, first
Right,
of all. And her
yes.
personality just was so, she embodies what she teaches and writes about.
Practices what
And
she preaches,
yeah,
truly.
She really, really does.
Yeah.
We have to watch the Wellness Warrior
I know.
documentary.
Yes.
But that was fun. That was a
It
fun
was, like,
conversation.
totally fun. We hope that you enjoyed it too, and that you should nominate someone for the FECK Awards. Well,
Absolutely.
and or forgive someone that you feel like you owe that forgiveness to.
Yeah. Or even if you don't owe it to them, you should forgive
Even
them
if they-
anyway.
exactly.
Even
right.
if you don't think they deserve it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So wise words. Wise words. So we hope you enjoyed that too. I'm Lori Schulweiss.
And I'm Jen Giamo.
And this was Everybody Talks.
Talk to you next time. For more information about our podcast, to learn more about us, or to catch up on all of our episodes, go to our website at everybodytalkspodcast.com.
Follow us on Instagram at Shirley, at Jen Giamo, and at Everybody Talks. And if you want to watch today's episode, go to our YouTube channel at Everybody Talks Podcast.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, join the Everybody Talks community and become an exclusive member of our wellness group. Check out the link in our show notes to learn more.
Don't forget, if you like what you've heard, give us a 5-star rating, write a review, and tell a friend. We're for everybody and everybody. The Everybody Talks podcast is co-created, executive produced, and hosted by us, Lori Schulweiss and Jen Giamo. Produced and edited by Station 16.
Our theme song music is written and performed by Jackie Ryle and Aaron Navisi, with additional support from our pups, Oliver, Milo, Murray, and Frankie.
Talk to you next time.